Welcome to the Fashion Translator. I'm Claire, your host. Together we explore how AI and innovation are reshaping the fashion industry through creativity, technology, and global partnership. For today's episode, I'm excited to welcome Taylor Artman, co-founder and CEO of Surf and Turf Golf, a brand built at the intersection of sport and lifestyle. Taylor, thank you for joining me today. To start, could you introduce yourself and walk us through your journey that led you to build the company?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me on. So I'm Taylor Artman, co-founder, CEO of Surf and Turf Golf. We were originally a social club in Southern California and developed kind of a, I guess, viral logo, if you will, that kind of started taking off and people started wanting our merchandise left and right, even though we didn't have an intention to bring it to market in that way. It was for our members only. And we ended up shifting into apparel company kind of overnight. So that's why we have a founded date in 2016, a form date in 17 as the apparel company. Website didn't come till May, and we've just entered our 10th year. We sell in about 650 accounts now, all organically grown. We haven't taken outside capital or investors. It's been a wild ride, including COVID, and even recently with the tariffs and the, I guess, conflict over in the Middle East right now is causing problems. It's been a wild ride. I've learned so much.
So tell us a bit more about the soul of the brand, but also the logo, how it started, what's the mission, and what's at its core.
So we started out, there was about five of us in Southern California, and you have a few touring professionals, golfers, and then a couple club professionals, so PGA professionals. And we aim to get this social club out there of young professionals that were moving out to California from all over. And they didn't have country club memberships. It's very expensive to join a membership, especially on the West Coast. And so we tried to, I guess, bring in people our age that didn't have that or didn't have that community. And so we were going to create a community through that and use our golf connections to kind of facilitate places to play, places to bring people out there. Figured we can get on anywhere once, but we can't afford every other club that's around. And so that was how we started it, to create a community out there. And that was through golf, through sport, and then just connectedness from our social interests to our lifestyle, to golf, to everything. Everybody that would participate in the events would get a hat and a t-shirt with our logo. And so when we created the name Surf and Turf Club, it was kind of this on and off the course type club. The logo's got the 16 in it for the year established, the surfboard and flag. It just kind of took off. We started getting people asking us in high numbers for our merchandise, and they weren't in our club. So it's kind of like, well, I don't know if I can sell that to you or not. You're not a member. You keep getting asked that, you keep getting asked that, and then you get such pushback when they didn't understand the membership or there wasn't a need for it. Maybe they're a member somewhere, maybe they're not from there, but they wanted the merch. After we hosted at tournaments at different sites, the members and the community at these clubs started requesting it to be sold in their pro shop. And so now we have a wholesale demand. And we, I would say, are very unique in today's world of startups and of new businesses. Almost all of them started on social media with websites. They had some sort of viral traction, D2C, I would say. And then they started entering box, and all the ones that existed in big box or in the retail game, those are older brands that have been around for a long time. We actually had probably 10 to 20 wholesale stores carrying our product before we had a website. And I would say that's one of the most unique things about our brand.
So as things got bigger and really reached next level, how would you say that this aspect of community, how did it evolve through this different stage of growth?
We started out with events, and I think that just brought people together. So not only was it apparel that would be worn at the events that fit whatever we were doing, we did things from, we had live music to golf tournaments to charity. We did a Toys for Tots thing that was social. There was drinking, music, sport, everything, on the lifestyle. I think bringing people together because of the commonality in the lifestyle that we were building around is what community. And then we just created apparel that would fit that. And then the main goal of the apparel was something that could fit in on the golf course competitively, but not stand out off the course. And so I remember playing in Canada with some guys, and we had one guy that was wearing a Bridgestone and one was wearing Srixon, and I had Titleist and the other guy was TaylorMade. And when we would walk into a restaurant after our golf tournament, walk in there, we all have our golf hats on and they've got the logos everywhere. It's a promo promo hat, if you will. We just look like golfers. And when we would then wear our hat, the surf and turf hat, we would take it off, wear that to the restaurant. But we built that in a way that it could be worn in competition, fit the mold, athletic fit. Like this trucker hat I have right now is elite performance fabric in the front. It's obviously got some lifestyle appliques and decorative on it, but it's built for performance. And then if I go wear it right now with what I'm wearing, I can fit in a cookout and it doesn't look like, just played a professional golf tournament. And so the community was really driven around course to coast. That's what we call our apparel. And it's apparel that could be worn on the course all the way to the coast, whatever in between.
When you started on this process of making the merch, and because it wasn't just put a logo on some blank, you put really efforts into, like you mentioned, like everything is technical and it will serve you and be with you on the course. So tell us a bit more about this process, like, because for you,
It wasn't always.
what did you discover? What came out for you when you started going on the technical things?
So it wasn't always that way. Keep in mind, we started out at the social club, right? So we were just buying promotional merch. It was blanks, and then we were adding a logo onto it. Not fancy, very state fair, like T-ball team or 7-Eleven. I mean, just very promo, right?
Yeah.
And not fancy at all. But our brand spoke to people that were, I guess, of a higher clientele or a social status of some sort, but the apparel itself was pretty generic, I would say. Yeah, when we started, I mean, I didn't even know what a DST file is. And for those listening, that's a digitization file. And so it's an embroidery file that controls where the stitches go, when the threads change, etc. It's a very important file. You can't even open on a regular, civilian's computer, if you will. You got to be in apparel or design. And we didn't even know what one of those was. We had no idea. And I remember getting our first batch of hats. We went into a mom and pop's in Palm Desert, California, or La Quinta area, and handed them about 18 hats. And we wanted to put a club logo on the side. So for one of the courses of our hat on the mesh of a trucker. And we put it on there and we didn't think a thing about it. And it looked great. And we went and sold it in there. And I'll never forget this. One of the reps for Travis Matthew, which is one of the largest companies in our space and industry, was like, how'd you put that on the mesh? How'd you put that logo on that mesh? We don't do that. And I just kind of Jordan and I, my co-founder, we didn't even know how to answer that question. We didn't know that we did anything. Our ignorance literally made us just not know. And we've done that ever since. And I still see brands that don't do it. And we got lucky because we had those early decorative vendors, I guess, that took the extra time and attention to make the DST able to be done on there. And ever since, we've taken extra care in getting our own DSTs made so we can put it on the right fabrics. And I think that that's the extra detail that we put into things. And then now that we go direct to factory, and we've got a great, outstanding relationship at a factory level, we're able to take that extra detail to our design and then to our meetings with our factory as far as our fabrics and Pantones or creative, and hat that maybe as a whole doesn't have all new appliques or features, but when combined all together, it's kind of a new look and a new product.
And so now that we covered more like the product itself and the construction, design, all of this, if you were to share with the consumer one aspect of the business like in the broader sense, like can be operation, logistic, tell us a bit more about one aspect that the consumer are not aware of, and that in terms of scaling also warehouse, just something that consumers are not aware, and that actually takes a big part into running a company in the fashion world.
If I had to give one lesson that would guide entrepreneurs, right, but then provide perspective to consumers of the difficulty or the road they have to traverse when you see a brand that's growing, it would be the lesson that I learned when I first rented this building out from my aunt's company. They have a fuel distribution company across the street. We leased from them. She came over to me about 6 months in, and she said, "How's cash?" That's all she said. Not how you doing, whatever. She said, "How's cash?" And I said, "It's not very good." "Why do you ask?" And she said, "I've been seeing a lot of boxes coming in, that more than you've ever had. And fast growth means no cash." And so I would say that when you're scaling a brand, that's been the hardest lesson I've learned in 10 years, especially we've never taken on outside capital. It's juggling that cash flow. And I think one of the things is we've had ebbs and flows between COVID and then now whatever of high wholesale sales, which are usually net terms, it means extended terms past then, and then lower D2C as far as a ratio goes, which that hinders cash flow also. but our volume is way up. And then our vendors also extend those, and it's just a very finicky game. So the more we sell, literally, we will have our best quarter ever this year, or last year was our best year ever. And our cash flow is tighter than ever. And that's because we're continuing to grow. We put it right back in the
Yeah.
company. We've hired two new people just in the last 6 months, 4 months, and then three new people in the last year, and then about 10 sales reps. Most of those are 1099s, but we keep reinvesting. We've put in new machinery. We've now got three
Yeah.
new programs that are cost, these programs that they're not a ton, but when you add them up, $750 a month here and $600 here,
Yeah.
that overhead starts going up, right? We've got virtual assistants overseas. We've got in-house team. You have to keep scaling. And so
Yeah.
that overhead continues to come in hot every week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then every week you're kind of, if you will, robbing Peter to pay Paul almost is what you feel like, trying to collect and then pay bills, but you're growing. So it's a weird
Yeah.
deal that I would say that customers don't think about. I had never thought about that when you see restaurants growing really fast, when you see any type of business, right?
Yeah.
It's growing
True.
fast and they're hiring people,
Yeah.
whatever. When you see them scaling, you think, oh, they're making a bunch of money. No, they're increasing their assets a lot, and the worth of the company, the valuation is going up, but their cash is not the same.
Right.
It's kind of
Yeah.
evolving, right? I think that's very interesting. More and more, I'm 10 years in and I still almost don't respect it like I should. And that's why I just can't say cash is king more loudly the further I get, because we have our best year ever and the problems stay the same. And from what I can hear and what I know when I've read Phil Knight's book or Damon John or, these other entrepreneurs within, especially this industry, and how our payment terms and our sourcing and supply chain, how it works, right? Never ends, right? I mean, I think
No.
the numbers
It's very
numbers
fragmented.
and like Phil Knight, he says it multiple times in his book, and then Damon John's Power Broke when he built Fubu were both around cash flow. And Phil Knight said a bunch of
Yeah.
times, "We're not broke, we just have no cash." We're growing. We
It's
have
not the
we
same
have
thing. It's
have
not the
no cash.
same
It's not
thing.
the same thing. Exactly. So it keeps you growing,
And
and vendors, having communication lines with your vendors, incentivizing customers to pay early without discounting too much, knowing which customers to press at, which ones not to, because you don't want to scare customers away, because you get
correct.
it, and we
Yeah.
get it. Also, we need extended terms with our relationships, our factories and vendors, as our customers do. And so it's just a very relational game. And I would say the customers have no idea with that. They don't see that. They just see the
No.
end product on the shelf or on the website, and they
Yeah.
see the employees grow and the building and all the shiny things, right? And they do
Correct.
understand that there's people packing boxes, and they do understand that it takes trucks and trains and planes and whatever to get it here. I just don't think they understand the cash flow.
Magnitude. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
If we look at right now, which area of your business has most of your focus right now?
right this minute, this week has been, I've got an investment call with our first potential large investor. We've had investment opportunities, investors interested. It's been my decision. I have not selected the right one. It's just a very important thing. And we have been a bootstrapped organic company. So as of late, I would say preparing for that has been pretty critical. But overall, it's been building our sales team. I've been on the road at trade shows for the last 2 months until about 10 days ago. That's why, you and I went back and forth there for a while, and I was like, bear with me. I've been at
Sure.
7 in a row, and a lot of them have an awkward 2 days in between, and they're not near home. So I have to stay there. But we acquired about 8 or 9 different new reps in the last 2 to 3 months, I guess. Not even 2 to 3 months, in the last 4 or 5 weeks. And then we had two last year, and those were our first two ever. We organically just used our founders and word of mouth to grow before that. So this is the first time we've put together a sales team. So I would say I'm wearing the national sales manager hat right now, is what I
Okay.
would say. We just brought in an inside salesperson for the first time that is solely working on just customer relationship, our CRM, and getting the customers' feedback and checking that the orders are going okay. And then, that'll in turn result in reorders or upsell. I think it just managing the relationships on that side, having the reps and having the inside sales. And then my chief of staff, McKinley, she's been working on some different improvements as far as from a software program and project management fulfillment, and also order entry has been a huge improvement in the last 6 months. She wins MVP for this implementation she did using AI and really changed the game for us. What used to
Yeah.
take us an hour the last 9.5 years to do an order entry into a CRM and an invoice and a proposal to the customer, the kind of the whole shebang would take
Yeah.
roughly an hour for a large order,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe 40 minutes if you're repeating it a bunch of times. She's made that a 2-minute process in the last
Yeah.
couple months, which
With
is
AI, yeah, there's really a lot. Like this is going to be the baseline in the future. The level of connectivity that you can have, even if you think like companies that have retail store, then wholesale, then e-commerce, you put all of these together, that then you manage to all connect these different facets that talks together, then connected with warehouse inventory. You get alert for reorder when your stock is low, when to move this, like all of this that actually it's much better when it's handled by technology rather than a human brain.
It is. It is 100%. And like it hit me the other day. I was able to send this new program, I guess. She's used AI and coding and whatever to make. And it's within an app it's created by her and the AI is coded. You can send that right to the customer and they can figure it out. And you can send to anyone. We've been able to assist our reps when they're at a show. Send us the 30 accounts that
Yeah.
you're going for. We'll have the proposal ready for you in about an hour. It takes that quick. So they can focus on showing the line, whatever. Everything just goes faster. And so that's why in the last week or so, I've been working on the investment side and financial side with my CFO to kind of prepare because now we're prepared to scale. This is the first time in 9 years that I have not been somewhat, not overwhelmed, but overseeing all the operations. It's autonomous right now without me. I'm there to solve problems when they happen, and they're happening less and less. And actually now they're operating at a level higher than I ever have for sure because they're taking ownership of their areas. And
Yeah.
now I'm free to now just clear the runway and allow us to go faster. And so
Yeah.
that's what's kind of exciting right now is I'm able to be more on offense. So go into trying to get money on one side, but also build revenue and sales, building a sales team on the other side. And
Mhm.
that's kind of exciting. For the
It
first time
is.
ever, we actually are able to meet our potential somewhat. I still won't say we can, but I've seen days where orders come in where it's like, wow, that wasn't just a record. That was like not even possible just 6 months ago. And we're getting into the vendors on embroideries, ordered from factory, whatever. We're moving more pieces than we ever have, and that's super exciting. And
It is.
to not have me as the founder and CEO in that oversight on the day to day, not in the business. I was like in the business versus on the business. To have me more on the business operationally and in it when it comes to sales and financial or acquiring some capital and resources, that's pretty
Yeah.
exciting. That's what you wish you could do the whole time is to help grow it and not help hold it
Run it.
together.
Yeah, yeah, correct. That's where you shine best. So, like you're really setting things up that everybody can do what they are best at. So this way you go full power. That's really where
Yes,
it gets the next
I mean,
level.
when I was awaiting this call, I was just thinking about it just a little bit ago, about an hour and a half ago. I was thinking about it. I have more energy right now. I'm at the office late. I came up here just it's late. I mean, it's
It's really
12:34.
late.
Yeah,
Oh,
to
it's
have it
staying
here at the
over.
office, which was fine. But when I'm more in the operations, it gets draining and exhausting, and I don't have the energy to kind of do that. And now I feel like I did in year 2 or 3 or 1 when everything's exciting, everything's new, opportunities are coming.
Yeah,
Like couldn't hold it all in. You can't even get a thought out because it's like there's so
yeah,
much. And that's kind of how I felt. I was sitting here thinking about it, and I was like, this is kind of nice. My creative brain is working, and
yeah,
it gives you energy when you are growing versus when you're
correct.
holding it together, right?
When you're able to set things up in a way that you get to focus on your zone of genius, when you operate in your zone of genius, what your every energy you put in, you feel it's coming back to you, rather than when you're outside of your zone of genius and in these tasks that are not exactly where you shine, you can tell there's a cost to it rather than an expansion.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly right. I mean, I'm using my skill set to our advantage and not to help us stay afloat. I'm not our guy when it comes to the operationally and doing Excel sheets and programs and all this. That's not me. I can barely work TikTok. My deal is problem solving and creative solutions and then leading people and using relationships to, create impact. And so get me out of the weeds, get me out of the files and the
Up in the
computer.
air.
Yeah, I'm just going to get in the way. way. So it's better and it's rewarding, but I already know on the other side of this, as we're growing, you're gonna have another ebb and flow. The
Yeah.
bigger you get, etc. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of exciting. We're hitting
Exactly.
a tipping point right now, but I'm smart enough to know that I've hit a couple of these and enjoy it right now. But
Yes.
also got to build it while you fly a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's another valuable lesson I've learned is you have to. I mean, so many for the entrepreneurs listening at home, so many people I think are waiting for the right time and they're waiting until they got all the pieces in place. It's never going to happen. It might on your third company because your first two you were able to create all these pieces, mess up the board and build it back. But if you're building something for you don't have the answers. You
No.
have to go
Yeah.
and oftentimes the answers are within the mistakes.
You're
You know,
correct.
if I had all the answers, I wouldn't have put that logo on that mesh because you're not supposed to do that, right? We didn't know, but we probably made other mistakes, and I've learned, and next time I won't do that. But yeah, I would say, building it while you fly and making a decision and then making that decision the right one is something that I think other entrepreneurs should really own. Because so many, oh, I need to get the website dialed in. I need to get my logo right. I need the right,
Just go. You don't need, just go, start, push.
yes,
There's
make
this
it
saying, building like you fly. Also, the other version of this saying is entrepreneurs are the people who jump off the cliff and build the plane as they fall. That's it.
exactly.
You won't know when you need it, when you like what you need, when you need it, just go. And even if you think about the scientific world or creative world, or even like when discovery happened, like so many things that we have today happened because someone had the strength and the courage to make mistakes, and from these mistakes became beautiful, strong things that we need today and that are part of the reality. But if it wasn't for that one brave person that had the courage to say, let me jump, we'll see what happens, I'll figure it out. You have to have this strength and this trust in yourself that no matter what happens, you'll be fine, you'll figure it out, and then you just go, because you cannot know anything else. That's it.
Exactly right. You got to have that. It's not just confidence, but it's that internal, I guess, willpower that you just know
Yeah,
it always works
you'll be
out, right?
fine. Yeah.
Even if it doesn't, you're going to learn from it and you're going to come back better and stronger. I think that that's been such a critical thing. And I just see so many people, I'm going to start this business one day. I'm going to do this. No, no, just start
Yeah.
somewhere on some level. And if you're not starting, either someone else is, or
Yeah.
you're starting something else that you're starting at something else that's going to get in the way. And
Yeah.
if you just start, it's amazing how quickly you look back and you walked a mile.
Yeah, I agree. After
Mhm.
you cross 1 year, 2 year, like it flies further, like faster than you could think. And in the end, there is moment where you feel like it's slow, but then if you look at a year back, you realize, wow, I'm not even the same person. It's not even the same business.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah. 'Cause I mean, we went from that social club to apparel side, right? We were doing lots of t-shirts, hats, etc. And then we started adding logos to the side or whatever. And then now, we make private label for other brands now. We have an event, an NIL industry, or I mean, not industry, but initiative. We have obviously our online still. We're selling just so many various things. And we didn't add any more products. We just added different markets and ways to fit in these markets. And you
Right.
just don't know. I never thought we would make private label things for other brands, but that's became important. Our mission is to create a community that inspires others. And so that's been one of the more rewarding things we've added. I get to work with, I guess, myself from 5, 10 years ago and the hurdles they had. And I don't want to be the supplier or the broker that I had that was,
Yeah.
the one that encouraged me to go be the better one, right? I want to be
Yeah.
that on the first try for these people. I think that's been pretty cool, but yeah, you don't know what's going to happen next. I had a friend, he owns a company and he shifted from something goods and he was going to go in this one direction. And then now he is only hats. And then now he's selling to these schools, etc. And he's doing these like heat press, heat bar, hat bar things. And now he's looking to purchase he's going a whole nother direction entirely. And he's like, have you ever done that? And I was like, bro, we started as a social club, then went to apparel. At
But
one
it's
point we had
beautiful. It's
at one
beautiful
point we
that
had
it's not written in advance. It's beautiful that there is this still curiosity and discovery of where it's going to take you.
Yeah, at one point, most of our revenue was through these events, and then a big chunk was online, and then we had our wholesale. It shifts and changes so fast. We had the Surf and Turf Pro Golf Series at one point. We were running pro golf tournaments. I mean, that didn't even make sense, but it did at the time. And then that ended. I was asked why it ended, and I kind of forgot it. Well, it ended on March 9th. It was the last event we ever did, 2020. The world shut down on March 12th, I think.
Yes, there was a
Yep.
lot less tournaments after that.
And not soon after that, we were making masks. So you got to be able to shift. But that is the nature of the game. Our factory said we can make these. And then, we sold to Outback Steakhouse. We sold to some, it is what it is. I look back
Yes,
and laugh at that.
you have to
And
keep moving.
that's what happens, right? And that's why you see some of these companies all the time that start as one thing and then turn into something completely different, right? Under Armour started as an undergarment worn by athletes under their jersey or in cold weather. And that was it.
Yeah.
It was essentially underwear for your upper body. Now you have guys wearing Under Armour in Tour de France. You have them wearing it at the Masters, in wear, in
It's in
shoes,
every sport. Yeah.
everything, goggles, skiing, whatever. It's not just undergarment for cold weather or anything. No, I don't know the extent of it, but I'm willing to bet soon you could buy Under Armour jeans.
I think there's
Within,
a expansion even within what they're doing. Yeah, there's a lot. But you need this flexibility and this willingness to move things out of this rigid, like we start somewhere, but then where does this take you and how you move from it? Because other than that, it's just the beginning of the end. If you just staying in your box, the world is not made for you to continuously stay in your, like, there's going to be a decline at some point if you're not willing to just, it's evolution, just natural evolution.
And I think that's a big balance too, is you got to evolve, but also stay focused on what you're good at. And I've done this in the past too. I've tried to get too many balls rolling at once. And that's one thing that we've dialed back. I've said no to polos and expanding into, I guess, further markets within apparel, even though I want to. I would like to make this outfit that I have on with jeans, I guess more of a fashion forward piece, entire collection. But I have gotten better at saying no and being proud to say no, because right now we are taking market share in our headwear and in our wheelhouse that is, right here, like a little micro market. And we have the ability to win head to head against anybody. And so we are going to keep digging that tunnel to see where it goes. Because if we start stressing ourselves there to spread elsewhere, that's going to hurt. And then somebody else can jump in there.
It's a
And
balance.
I think
Yeah.
yeah, that's been a balance exactly, to be open-minded and creative to try anything and to enter new markets and to find blue oceans and to evolve. But also, when you find something that's working,
You
you
double
double down.
down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly the word I would use. You double down. It's exciting. The factory can feel it. I can tell that they're exciting. Our invoices get bigger and bigger and bigger with them. And then our customer base has gotten bigger and bigger. We sell to 650 plus. It's probably even more than that. I've been saying that for about 2 months. And so it's probably higher than that now. I don't even know. I got to sit back and go count. But our customer base is growing very fast. And that's because we're focusing on what we're good at. So we're able to knock out more orders in a day to more customers and bring more value to our industry. If we were trying to launch new products, polos and new design, our designer would be spread thin in 3 ways.
Yeah.
I would be dealing with factory 1 for this and factory 2 for this, and budget and then marketing, whatever. Certain customers would only be buying X and not Y. We would just be all over the place. And it would look like growth, but it would probably be more confusion than anything. I think right now I would say we're scaling smart, and that's where it gets fun. I think it puts us in better position to get our processes, our SOPs, our rhythm, if you will, as a team aligned. And then it's like, okay, now when we're ready, we need to go build that team and that whole structured initiative and running machine over here. And whether that involves same people or new people or whatever, we know. And then this keeps going. And then now we go build this one. And I think that that's a better way to do it. And one of the biggest learning lessons that I've had is figure out where you have room to evolve, but stick to what you're good at for sure. Play your game.
Taylor, congratulations on the 10 years. And for sure, we'll be keeping an eye on the next 10 years to come and beyond. For the listener who wants to stay in touch, all the links for the website, the handles, everything to stay connected will be in the description. Taylor, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.